Right guys, so this is the foundation paper. I'm going to go through the first half of the foundation paper as unit 2, so the calculator one. Again, if you want to see the rest of this foundation paper, you'll need to watch the intermediate video. Now the best way to go through this, okay, and the best way to use this resource, either get your mock that you've just done. If you're in my school, take your mock that you've just done, get it in front of you, follow through on the video and fill in the corrections, or you get a blank copy. Now, if you want a blank copy and you haven't got a blank copy of any of the YouTube videos that I go through, if you go to the email on my Instagram, or it should be on my YouTube as well, and email me. If you email me, I'll respond and I'll send you a blank copy of the whole paper. Okay, so if you want to use that, you find that useful, okay, I can send you a blank copy. And the best way to do it, okay, get a blank copy in front of you, have a go at a question, pause the video, have a go at a question, and then once you're there, go play the video and go through and watch me do the question and then mark your work. If you do that question by question for about half the paper, take a break, a couple of hours, come back and do exactly the same thing for the remainder of the paper. And that's probably one of the best ways you can revise. Okay, the paper we've got. So we've got Foundation Tier 2019 June. Okay, lovely paper. Okay, what not enough people realise. Okay, with calculator papers, you need to be relying solely on your calculator. Stop trying to do stuff on your own, in your head. Like, people are too confident to do stuff in their head. It's a waste of time with a calculator paper, okay? Just do it on your calculator. On the first one, I got 4.58, add on 9 pence, okay? At the moment, they're in different units, okay? So I'm going to put them both into pence. So I got 458 pence, add on 9 pence, gives me 467 pence, which I know is £4.67p. Okay, that's an easy one. Again, rely on your calculator. Don't bother doing it in your own head. It's a waste of time. 43p plus something makes £6.27. Now, although it's a plus, because I've got to work out what goes by here, I've got to take those away from each other. Now, I'm going to put it in pence again. I got 627 pence. Take away 43 pence. If I take those away from each other, I get 584 pence, which is the same as £5.84. Okay, easy stuff so far. Next, 12 times 59p. Okay, I'll do that first. 12 times 59p is 708 pence. Now, all you've got to do on this question is get good at going from pence to pounds. Okay, and if I'm going from pence to pounds, I've got to count back 2 and put a decimal point in. That's going to be £7 and 8 pence. Next one, 19 times something is £27.55. So I'm going to keep this in pounds, because essentially when it's times something and we want to know what goes by here, we've got to divide. So 27.55 divided by 19 gives me £1.45. Okay, you should not have dropped marks. Most of my class dropped marks on this first question. Shouldn't drop marks on it. Rely on your calculator, okay? Just use it continuously. Page 2. So, a bit of shapes, okay? It's just knowing basic names of shapes. Now, write down a special name of the following shapes. The first one, it's got 5 sides. So I'm going to write down stuff. As I find out stuff about it, I'm going to write it down. So 5-sided shape. 5 sides. Now, I know a triangle has 3 sides. I know a rectangle and a square have 4 sides. The next shape up is a pentagon. Now, unfortunately, this is one you're just going to have to learn yourself. Okay, next one up is a pentagon. So names of shapes is something you're just going to have to learn. Okay, next one. Now, this is not a kite. Okay, it's not a traditional kite that you'd be used to. A kite looks like this. So a kite has 2 long sides down the bottom that match, and then it comes at the top like that. Those 2 sides match, those 2 sides match. This is different. Okay, you could write down that it's an equilateral kite and that will get you the marks, but it's not a traditional kite. Okay, so kite is wrong. What this is, if you turn it to the side, this is a square that's been pushed over a little bit. So it's a square that's been pushed a little bit. A square that's been pushed over. If you've got a rectangle that's been pushed over, that's called a parallelogram. A square that's been pushed over is a rhombus. Now, I wouldn't expect, it's quite a weird shape to remember. I wouldn't expect everyone to remember that one. But again, if you wrote down equilateral, because of all these little dashes, that means all the sides are the same. Equilateral kite, that would get you the marks. Again, you should definitely get the first one right, maybe not that one. On part C, this is an easy one. It's just a tube of Smarties. Tube of Smarties is called a cylinder. Okay, cylinder. So we got pentagon, rhombus, and cylinder. Probably should get 2 out of 3 of those. On 3A, write down the first 3 multiples of 47. So the important bit here is that word by there, multiples. That word by there means times tables. So they're asking us to write down the first 3 numbers in the 47 times table. So easy one first is 47. Now the calculator comes back into play because it's a calculator paper. So I want to know the second number in the 47 times table. I'm not going to do it on my head. 47 add 47 is 94. If I want to know the third number, I'm going to do 47 add 47 add 47. 141. And that's it. That's the question done. Okay? They're going to ask you, they'll have a whole question on multiples, factors, and maybe square numbers. Okay? So make sure you know the meanings of those words. One of the numbers below is a factor of 676. Circle the correct number. Now, factor means it goes in without leaving a remainder. Without a remainder, okay? So all I've got to do is take my calculator. I start with 676, and I'm just going to divide by these numbers. 676 divided by 22. No, that gives me a weird decimal, so that's wrong. 676 divided by 32. No, that gives me another weird decimal, so these two are incorrect. 676 divided by 42. No, weird decimal again, so that's incorrect. 676 divided by 52. 13, okay, so it's got to be 52. Okay, it's only worth 1 mark, so there's no need for workings out on there. When one of the numbers below is divided by 22, there's a remainder of 11. Circle the correct number. Now, the difficulty here on your calculator is, calculators don't give you remainders when you divide, okay? So it's going to be a bit difficult to do exactly what they've said. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to try something. These are all in the low 200s, okay? I know if I do 22 times by 10, I get 220. 22 times by 10 gives me 220. Now this is close to these. If 10 lots of 22 is 220, which one of these would have a remainder of 11 to get here? If you look at each of these, the one that would have a remainder of 11, you can take them away in your calculator if you want to. 220, take away each one. The one that has a remainder of 11 is 209. Okay, so that would be your answer. Next one, question 4. As you can see, we're flying through this, okay? It's not difficult stuff. You just got to take your time, and whenever you have the opportunity, use your calculator and rely on it. The line AB is shown below. Mark the midpoint of AB with an X. Okay, take your ruler. This isn't one we should get wrong. Okay, you do this in year 7. Okay, you take the ruler, go to the line. My line on my page is roughly 9 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to go to, if I need to go on my calculator, I can. I know 9, if I want to know the midpoint, 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, so I need to go 4.5 centimeters in. My midpoint's by there. Okay, draw a line parallel to AB so that it passes through point C. Okay, we need to draw a line parallel to AB, but it's got to pass through point C. So, okay, right then, so if we want to draw parallel lines, okay, that means these two lines have got to be perfectly in line with each other, okay? They've got to be perfectly in line, there's got to be no gap. So probably one of the best ways to do this is, okay, I take my protractor, okay? I'm going to draw a point down by here, and I'm going to join this up. What that makes is a 90-degree angle. Okay, that makes a 90-degree angle in there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to make another 90-degree angle with this side by here. So parallel line passes through point C and it makes a 90-degree angle. Okay, so those two are 90 degrees. That means the lines are parallel. Underneath now, question 5. Bethan writes down 2 square numbers. Okay, she adds the 2 square numbers together. Her answer is square numbers is less than 30. Which 2 square numbers did Bethan write down? So, square numbers. A square number is the answer you get when you times a number by itself. So if I start on my calculator, I go 1 times 1. Remember, don't do anything in your head, okay? It's a waste of time. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3, 9. 4 times 4, 16. And 5 times 5 is 25. Now, what she's trying to say here is a bit backwards the way it's written, but what they're trying to say, she adds 2 of these numbers. So looking at these numbers, this one, these lot by here, and this one by here. Okay, she adds 2 of these up, and it gives you an answer less than 30 that is also in this list. So if I start adding them up, I got 1 plus 4. No, it gives me 5. That's not on my list. I got 4 plus 9. Oh, that's not. And you just keep trying numbers until you get one that's in the list. 9 plus 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. So 9, add 16, both in the list, makes 25, which is also in the list. So Bethan's square numbers are 9 and 16. Harry adds 3 even numbers together and gets an answer of 23. Explain how you know that Harry's answer is incorrect. So, all it's asking you to do is show that it's incorrect. Okay, so if I add any 3 numbers up, any 3 even numbers up, okay, I'm going to go 10, let's go lower. 6 plus 8 plus 10. 6 plus 8 plus 10 equals 24. And you'd write down Harry is incorrect because even numbers cannot be added to make an odd answer. And if you're unsure if that statement's true, just take your calculator and keep trying. With even numbers on your calculator, keep trying. And obviously if you can't get there, you know that even numbers can't be added to make an odd answer. Number 6. So, circle either true or false for each of these statements. Now, it's talking about every single one of these is about circles, okay? So, I'm just going to, each statement, I'm just going to draw a circle. So, I'm going to draw a circle at the top. Okay, this is going to be my circle. And before I start, okay, all these are about circles, so I'm going to label the stuff I know. Okay? That in there is the diameter. That in there is the radius. And that by there is the circumference. Now, these are the main ones I'd expect you to know, okay? If you don't know the other ones, that's okay. If you don't know the other ones, that's okay, but they're the main ones I'd expect you to know. Now, the length of the diameter of a circle is equal to half of the length of the radius. Okay, the length of the diameter, they've worded this to confuse you. The length of the diameter of the circle is equal to half the length of the radius. Now, the radius is the little one. If I half that, I get this much. Now, that is not equal to the diameter, okay, so that's false. They've done that to confuse you. A straight line connecting 2 points on the perimeter of the circle, that's this, but by here is the chord. Okay, that is what they're saying is that. Now, that is the chord, so that may be one you need to remember as well. Okay, that is called a chord, so that's correct. The circumference is a special name for the space inside a circle. The space inside any shape is not the circumference. Okay, the circumference is the bit around the edge, the perimeter. The space inside the shape is always the volume. Okay, so that's false. And the last one, 2 circles, each with radius 5 centimeters, must be congruent. Now, what I'm testing you here, do you know what the word congruent means? The word congruent means the same. Okay, congruent means the same. So if 2 circles are the same, if they have both a radius of 5 centimeters, yes, because circles are always the same shape. Okay, they can't change. That makes it an oval if you stretch it out at all. So they are exactly the same. Yes, I'd agree. Next one. What percentage of the following shape is shaded? Okay, so I need to get this as a fraction first. Now, I've got a calculator. I need to get this as a fraction. Now, altogether, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's out of 20. Now, the bit shaded, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 out of 20. Now, if you ever want to work out a percentage of anything, you do the number you've got divided by the total, all times by 100. So I got 12 divided by 20, all times by 100. 60%. Okay? Easy work. You are given a value of 25% of a number. Explain how you can find the value of a full number. So, if you've got 25% of anything, the full number is 100%. So you've got to work out how you get from 25% to 100%. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can either times by 4, or you can double it and double it again. Okay, so I've written that's a perfect answer now, times by 4, or you can write down double it and double it again. Both of those answers are acceptable. Down the bottom, explain how you know that 1/8 is bigger than 1/10. Okay, you could explain this in maths, but you've got a calculator. Okay, you've got a calculator in front of you. Now, talking about 1/8, 1/8. Use the fraction button over there. Equals S to D 0.125. 1/10. Do the same thing again. Oop, take that away. Don't want 1 over 1. I want 1/10. S to D is 0.1. The reason we know is because this is bigger than that. And you can just use that on your calculator, okay? Don't do any thinking in your head. If you can manage it, if it's anything to do with numbers on your calculator paper, try and do your working out in your calculator. And next one. At the top, measure BAC, okay? This is easy work, okay? Just take your protractor. They're asking you to do really easy stuff. Take your protractor. Now, the important bit with using a protractor, okay? This bit in the corner needs to be on the cross. That means this line, A all the way across to 0, needs to be along the line you're measuring, and then the corner cross bit needs to be in the corner of the angle. Now, if I look at this goes all the way up to 65. If you follow, because you always start at 0. You always start at 0 and count up. It goes all the way up to 65, which is there. So my answer is 65 degrees. Now, underneath, circle one of the angles below that's a reflex angle. So, reflex angles, okay? Reflex angles are ones that bend all the way back. So this one by here would be considered an acute angle. Anywhere between 90 and 180 is obtuse, and then all the way back, so that means it's bending like this. Reflex, so it's got really, really good flexibility, I think of it like that. All the way back, it's over 180 degrees, is 225. Okay, that would be a reflex angle. Down the bottom, the diagram below shows two angles on a straight line. The large angle is 5 times the size of a small angle. Find the size of the large angle. So, this one is 5 times bigger than that one. Okay, up to you how you do it. Remember, they've got to add to 180, okay? That's the only rule you've got to follow. Angles on a straight line, add to make 180. Now, up to you how you do it. I'm going to use algebra. Okay, they're saying this by here is 5 times bigger than that. So I'm going to call that 5x. I'm going to call that x. If I look at all the x's I've got together, I got 5x and x, which makes 6x. And all of that has got to be equal to 180 degrees. Now, we're all really good at solving equations. Okay, so if I divide them both by 6, if I divide by 6 on your calculator, 180 divided by 6 gives me 30 for the small angle. And if the big angle is 5 times as big, I go 30, and I just times it by 5. Gives me 150, and that's it. Really easy work. Over here now, okay, we are flying through this paper. You'll see it's much easier. If you're on a foundation tier, you should be doing much better on a calculator paper than you are on a non-calculator paper, because the topics aren't difficult. You're just saying, can you use a calculator most of the time? Okay, most of these questions will be marks. I'd say about 20 of the marks out of the 80 are on calculator-based work. Okay, cuboid A is made up of a number of cubes as shown below. Each edge of each cube is 1 centimeter long. So before I do anything else, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the length is 5 centimeters. Width 1, 2, 3, 3 centimeters, and the height is 2 up, so it's 2 centimeters. Okay, before I do anything else, I like drawing on stuff. Okay, so if you can draw on it or make your own diagram, always try and do that. Different cuboid, cuboid B. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. We're talking about cuboid B. Has the same length and width. Okay, so these are the same, but the height is 3 times as much as cuboid A. So I'm going to draw that out. Okay, if you can't draw a cuboid, okay, you just draw a rectangle like this. And then you have 3 diagonal lines coming off the rectangle. And you join your lines up. Okay, it's not, you don't have to be able to draw a cuboid, it doesn't matter really. So, length is 5 centimeters, width is 3 centimeters, and the height is 6 centimeters. Okay, those are my 3 things. Now, they're saying what's the volume of cuboid B? So this is cuboid B by here. I need to write down volume equals length times width times by height. Okay, that's my volume. So my length is 5 centimeters, my width is 3, and my height is 6 because I had to times it by 3 for my cuboid A. So I take my calculator now. 5 times 3 times 6 gives me an answer of 90. And remember, it's centimeters cubed because you're timesing everything by 3 in its volume. Okay, that's job done. That's that question completed completely. Okay, last one now. Last one is strictly foundation, and then we end up on the intermediate paper. So, describe in words the rule for continuing each of the following sequences. Now, 38 to 32. Again, do it on your calculator. 38 take away 2 is 6. Take away 6. Take away 6. So you'd write down in words. Really important you write it in words. You're going to take away 6 each time or subtract 6, whichever one you want to write down. Remember, I just nearly put it in numbers, then don't put it in numbers. Now on the next one, they'll always give you one where it's adding or taking away, and the next one it'll probably be times or divide. Now, a quarter to a half. Now if I'm on foundation, I probably won't know the difference between these, what's happening there. A half to make 1, that's adding a half or times it by 2. A 1 to 2 is times it by 2 as well. So I imagine if it's going up in the same thing each time, that's going to be times by 2 as well. So I can see now, you can either write it's doubling each time, double the previous number, or multiplying by 2. Okay, up to you which one you write. Now on part B, the very last part, just the foundation. Adam has X marbles. This is writing expressions just based on words. So whenever you read, just write it down. It is literally that simple. Adam has X marbles. His friend gives him 3 more. Write down in terms of X the total number he has now. So if Adam had X originally, I'm going to write that down. His friend gave him 3 more. So his friend is simply just adding on 3. And that's it. X that he had originally, add on 3 because he's got 3 more. Underneath, petrol costs G pounds per litre. Write down in terms of G the cost of 15 litres of petrol. So if it costs G pounds, I want 15 lots of this. So if I want 15 lots of this, I can either write 15 times G or just 15G. And that's it. Right guys, so that is the end of the strictly foundation stuff. Okay, if you found this useful, please share it with your friends. If you are doing foundation and you followed me through on this video, please take a break now and then carry on with the intermediate stuff later on. And please follow my Instagram for daily GCSE maths questions.